Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, the Binge and B. What you watching on TV? Episode 4 of Baddies USA. Child. It look like this shit is coming to a head now with Miss Summer, but we gonna get there. So basically, this episode opens up where Tasiki is finally able to get her hands on Summer. They had pulled her in the house and had her in the little room ducked off by herself. But she finally get her hands on her. She she popped her a few times. Obviously, everybody breaks that up. And what was a little confusing for me is I think after they broke up the fight, Tasiki and Tommy have kind of a back and forth. It wasn't like it was a hostile conversation. Like if you walked in on the conversation and they screaming at each other, it looked hostile, but it wasn't really hostile. I think Tasiki was like frustrated or something that Tommy didn't get Summer to shut the fuck up, and Tommy is basically like, I only got so much control. Like, how am I supposed to, I can't, you know what I'm saying? So they kind of go back and forth. As they're having their exchange, we cut to Cold Killer and Dolly outside in the yard. And so Dolly pulled Cold Killer to the side. I think Fauna was there with her too. But Dolly is basically telling Cold Killer, she like, I ain't really had no issues with you. I like your song, whatever. And I guess trying to like bury the hatchet on some shit they had going on. I would say the conversation went very well, but Cold Killer wasn't going for the bullshit. She just like, girl, whatever. So I don't know that she made a whole lot of headway with Cold Killer, but she did apologize. So I'm gonna say this new Dolly is looking good to me too, man. Like Dolly is, I have always thought she was so gorgeous, and she's super country and shit. Like she got that little accent, how she say bird, like she's so cute to me, but she is such a fucking asshole in the prior seasons. It looked like her and Lex gonna do a little stretching, a little growing, and so we like that. It's looking good on you, Dolly. It's looking good on you. However, Cold Killer is not buying it, and she don't really give a damn. But that conversation ends with them peacefully. Nobody gets upset. Now, as they're having a conversation, out of nowhere, here comes Tinkerbella. Child, Tinkerbella want to get her win, because Cold Killer was kind of, she was hanging with her. I wouldn't say Cold Killer, like, beat her up or no shit, but it wasn't just the mollywop that we would have anticipated it would be, seeing how Tinker get down in the past. You know what I'm saying? And so, I guess Tinker not being satisfied with their prior altercations, she come out of nowhere and they square back up. This is their 15th square up in like what looks like one night. I think these last 3 episodes all transpire in one fucking night, so Tinker end up catching her. She get the best of her in this one. She didn't really incapacitate her or nothing, but she did. She wanted to win. She wanted to get her win. And even Cold Killer recognized that. She was like, shit, she wanted to get her one. She wanted to keep going until she felt like she had won. So she did that. Hopefully, now that they have got that out the way, maybe they can both at least sit in a room and be like cordial in the room together. Now, as they get done fighting, Tavy and Tinker kind of have some words. I guess Tavy baby is cool with Tinkerbella, and we know she cool with Cold Killer. And so Tavy is like y'all been doing this shit back and forth. Like, you need to like knock it off. You know what I'm saying? Tinkerbella, obviously Tinker's like, bitch, mind your business. Tavy, she ain't letting up. She want them to chill because I think she like both of them. She got love for both of them. She hates to see them both going back and forth and trying to get at each other's throats. So she interjects herself. I don't know if that was necessary. I'm not really sure that would have been the time to do it, but nonetheless, she says her piece, and Tinker's a little offended, but that ended pretty peacefully for the most part. So this is where they show us Summer and Lex having a conversation. Remember, they broke up Summer and Tasiki's fight. Some kind of way they got Summer into a different room. Lex is in the room with her, and Summer is really feeling some kind of way toward Lex. I guess because Lex didn't intervene, or maybe she feel like because Lex can throw them hands that Lex should have jumped in and fought Tasiki, and she basically trying to frame it to where it's like she's almost trying to insinuate that Lex must be scared of Tasiki because she didn't jump in the fight. Which, I don't know what that would have to do with you fighting Tasiki. Like, you the one that's into it with her, right? And this is basically what Lex's point is. Lex is like, shit, y'all had y'all shit going on. You doing too much. I'm really trying to keep you from going too far. Like, I'm looking out for your best interest. And Summer's not trying to hear it. She's like, bitch, fuck you and your best interest, and I don't give a fuck, and you don't fuck with me, go fuck with them. And Lex is upset. You can tell Lex is upset about it, but not upset, angry, mad, and wanting to slap the shit out of her yet. But she feels some kind of way about that, and you can tell it hurt her feelings, you know what I'm saying? Because she really is trying to look out for Summer and keep her at least grounded a little bit. Summer ain't with shit. She don't care. It's up. She mad. She want to scream and holler. She don't mind getting slapped and beat the fuck up again. She just is irrational. Now, I have to say, as I I am observing Summer in these moments. I really think something wrong with her. Now, I done alluded to that fact in a couple of my past videos, right? Like, I think her mind is fucked up. Like, I think seriously, like, something, not even trying to be funny, like, I really think something is wrong with her, you know, to take them types of beatings. Matter of fact, later on in the episode, Scotty bring up a good point. Scotty thinks that she has CTE, which is basically, you know, that's the head injuries you be getting when you play any kind of sport, and you get a lot of head trauma. They say that there are things that happen with people that are in those industries like wrestling and football and shit, and it really does cause their brains to function differently. You know what I mean? I think Summer, it's possible. It's possible. As all this is going on now, it's getting a little bit later. Now we have Miss Smiley. She shows up. She's down for the count. She can't fight no more. You know, she got a cast on her shit. So she get there, like, so now we go back to Tommy and Tasiki. They having a really deep conversation. They go outside to the yard and they sitting in the grass. That conversation that they had was really heartfelt. It was kind of sad. It almost brought tears to my eyes because Tasiki's like super emotional. Like, she's really upset. And Tommy is finally able to get her to kind of open up as to why she's pissed off. From what I gather, if I'm understanding this shit right, Tasiki is upset because she's saying that her and Krishan behind the scenes had, you know, put everything to bed and that they were supposed to be cool again. But what Tasiki wants from Krishan is she wants Krishan to come forward and say that the shit she said about them when they was kids and how Tasiki would make them do shit, she wants Krishan to come forward and say that shit is not true. Here's what I'm gonna say about that shit. It's clear that they had their conversations and that they was probably trying to work on their relationship, right? But the fact that Krishan is not willing to go back on that shit, I mean, she could be lying about it. I would pose this to people that just automatically want to say she's lying. First of all, we all got families, right? All the families know that kids play hide and go get it when they little. We also know that there are adults that do, you know, nefarious things with little children when they small, right? Also, it's a million of them motherfucking Malones. Like, it's a million, how many? It's like 8 or 9 of them, or like 11 of them or something. Some brothers locked up. They got a couple of the sisters that be in and on the socials and all that shit. With a family that big, you cannot get me to believe that there wasn't no touching going on. And I think that, you know, when people are young people or when they kids or they're in a certain environment, really kids are sponges and they go off of what they know and what they learn. So even if it did pop off the way we hear it, I would still not even say that Tasiki would be to blame for that kind of shit because of the environment that they was probably in. You know what I'm saying? So that's a really touchy subject, and I want to make sure I'm careful on how I put my mouth on that shit because it's a serious accusation. Don't nobody really know the truth. But we do know that we all have families, and families have secrets. And a lot of times in the past, you just wasn't supposed to talk about that shit, you know? I also have theories on why Krishan is so hostile, or how she's been as hostile as she's been in the past, especially with how she would handle like Blueface and shit. I might talk about that on my other channel, because I got some theories behind that, and that's one reason I have always been a champion for that baby, because she is not finna let you just do what the fuck you want to do to her. Whether you like it or love it, you is not just finna bulldoze over Krishan. She probably experienced a lot of that when she was a kid. She probably couldn't do shit. She probably wasn't big enough or old enough to fight back, and so now you got her fucked up, and I'm all the way here for it. I am a supporter of Krishan Rock. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I don't give a fuck, you know, what decisions she make. I don't agree with everything. Some things look sad to me. I hope things get better in some capacities of her life. But I'm a Krishan rider, and I have a sneaking suspicion as to why she moved like she do. So anyway, Tasiki wants her to come forward and say that the allegations were not true. Tommy is able to, she didn't really calm her down because she's still very, very, very upset, which my heart go out to Tasiki too, because like, that's her reputation. Even if it's like some family shit that did go on or didn't go on, whatever it is, it should not be on Zeus. You know what I'm saying? And so my heart go out to her equally. But Tommy's able to calm her down a little bit, and so she goes and get Krishan. Of course, it's like a big old herd of the girls come with him, but then finally, so I can't even really remember who it was, but they were basically like, listen, we need to back off. You know what I'm saying? Get them some room, get them some space, let them talk, and we're gonna move around. Which is still weird to me because y'all talking, but you got a big ass camera in your face, so that still has to be a little awkward, I would think. But anyway, so they talk, and Tasiki is basically expressing to her what I just kind of went over, right? She wanted, like, we was cool, we just talked, we had the dinner, we did it, you said it was cool and this and that, why you won't tell these people this and that? Sean is just like, we is cool, but I don't understand why we have to keep bringing it up. So basically what that sound like to me is Krishan is like, we is cool, I know what it is, you know what it is, I'm not finna keep passionate and this and that, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie for you. I feel so cringy saying that shit. I really do. I feel so cringy saying it. But it really feel like Krishan ain't letting up and she don't want to go back on it because it might not be that she was lying. It could just be that she was, it was inappropriate for her to talk about that shit on Zeus or, bring it up publicly. But I think she don't want to retract because she's standing on her shit. It's a fucked up situation. Them Malones, man, this is a fucked up situation. But anyway, so they talk. Tasiki is still pretty upset about it. I will say that I do like the fact that they not getting physical, because I think that's what people are feeding on. Like, these motherfuckers, like, they want them to fight and shit, especially Summer. Summer want Krishan to whoop Tasiki's ass, which I don't know if she could whoop Tasiki or not. That's her big sister, so that might be one rumble Krishan might not walk away from, unscathed, you know what I'm saying? But that's her big sister, you know what I mean? And so I'm glad they didn't fight, but it does not look resolved from there. So anyway, they talk a little bit, things kind of die down, and then Natalie come out to the yard and she reveals that we have a special guest to pull up. So the special guest pulls up and we have Daisy fucking Dukes. Daisy Dukes. So as Daisy Dukes is coming in, I'm like, who the fuck is Daisy Dukes? Like, I've told y'all before, I don't really follow the socials and I don't really, I don't do all that shit. But I'm like, sometimes the people, I recognize them from like Now That's TV, or something like that. But I'm like, who the fuck? And she looked familiar, but I just was like, who the fuck is that? Like, what the fuck? Child, Daisy Dukes is one of the girls. She was one of the girls that was on Baddies Gone Wild. I will say I tried the Baddies Gone Wild. I think that's a little too much for me. I just didn't really watch that whole season. I just couldn't get into it. I wasn't, I guess, as invested in the girls. I think they're a little younger than the demographic of the traditional Baddies show. And I couldn't get into it. But I do remember Bahati. I like Bahati, the little Australian chick. I thought she was dope and very cute. And then I do remember Daisy Dukes. Now, you know what's fucked up about that part? I couldn't remember Daisy Dukes until Rolly snatched her wig. I couldn't recognize her until Rolly snatched her wig off. So here's what happened, right? So Daisy Dukes get to the crib. I guess her and Rolly had some kind of issues online. They was beefing back and forth online. I think somebody alluded to the fact that Daisy Dukes was like the Rolly of the Baddies Gone Wild girls or something, and maybe she was offended by it. I don't think she's offended by it. I think everybody be looking for moments, especially these young girls. They looking for a moment. They want to get crunk. They want to like stand out and shit. She used that as her end to get at Rolly. So she shows up. Her and Rolly square up. I will say Daisy Dukes got with Rolly. It's not too many of the girls that can really get with Rolly. She got with Rolly. I wouldn't necessarily say that she whooped her, but if I was Rolly, I probably would have been like, oh, whew. Daisy Dukes, she put them hands on her, you know what I'm saying? So they have their little rumble. And then Anna, I guess Daisy Dukes said some shit about Anna online or something too. So Anna with her little ass, she comes jumping into the fight and she couldn't really get her real good or nothing, but she's so little. She's so cute. She get on my nerves though. Anna bouncing around and shit, so she kind of tried to pop her a couple times, so whatever. That fight felt disgustingly unnecessary. It's like they just did that shit to do that shit. And so Daisy Dukes, I guess she got her wish. She wanted to be associated with the real baddies or whatever, so she came in, did her little 1-2. But then that's over. So they break up that fight. The girls are separated, and so now they have to go to rehearsals. Now we have the girls in sprinters. So the sprinter with Fauna, Cold Killer, Scotty, and whoever else was on there with them. So basically they're on there talking, and so for some reason Tavy and Fauna kind of start getting into it. From what I gather, the conversation was around Fauna saying, hey, I feel sorry for Summer. Tavy was like, fuck that bitch, that's stupid. And so I think Fauna felt like Tavy was calling her stupid or something, and she kind of, she was upset about it. So they kind of go back and forth. They have like kind of a hostile back and forth. I feel like that conversation was heated because of something else, which I think later on we find out in their socials that they had fell out. So I seen some little IG clips about that on the YouTube. I still don't understand it. I don't know if they were like fucking around. I don't know. But in the moment on that sprinter, while they're arguing, it's like a hostile argument. They don't really come to blows or nothing, but it's like, why? How could you bitches be this mad talking about Summer? Like, I just didn't get it. But anyway, Tavy is like, fuck that bitch. I don't feel sorry for her. She keep doing the same shit over and over. Fuck her. Fauna is like, well, you can't tell me how to feel. Like, that was her rebuttal. So I'm just like, okay. Yeah, there's something else to that. Now, on the other sprinter, we got Summer, we got the big three, we got Rolly, and whoever else is in it. It's a lot of the bitches. Like, I don't know. But as they're riding, they're trying to kind of get to the bottom of why Summer's so mad at Lex. This is what she did. She basically said that Lex and Dolly had said shit about Krishan offline, and like now that Krishan and Tasiki is in the house, they ain't willing to move. She basically was posing like, oh, y'all was talking shit about that bitch, but now that she hear you, scared. That was the gist of her argument. Whatever. They kind of talk a little bit more about it, just kind of a little bit of a back and forth. Dolly steps up and is basically like, well, shit, you know, you expecting people to jump in for you. She says, shit, I fought that bitch Tasiki and didn't nobody jump in for me, so it was one-on-one, so that's why didn't nobody do nothing. That seems rational to me, right? But Summer's sticking to it. She like, nah, y'all was talking shit about them bitches before they was there, and so, you know, da-da-da. Oh, Rolly tears into her ass. Rolly is like, Summer, you doing too much. You getting on everybody's nerves. You starting shit. She said you actually even started shit with Dolly and Tinka on that other sprinter ride on the way to the house. Rolly is really just laying into her ass. She just bringing up all the shit and all the things, and Summer hop up. So Rolly hop up like, bitch, what you gonna do? They didn't come to blows. Luckily, nothing really popped off on the sprinter. But here's the thing. So now Summer is really on an island by herself, and you can tell she's starting to kind of shut down. But she gonna ride until the wheels fall off. This bitch, I will say, she will not fold. She is not gonna bend. She is sturdy in her stance, and she is not gonna give in. I think that can be admirable up to a point, but then at another point, it just becomes dumb as fuck. You got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them. It's time for her to fold them, motherfuckers. And then I did see a moment. So now this is when the girls make it to the club. They get to some place called Club, like Karma DC or some shit. So they get in there for their rehearsals. Got real ugly. It didn't know. The girls get off, and then they head into the club. So as we get to the club, that's where the BGC girls come in. You got Low London. She pop up, and she basically say she ain't fought nobody since she fought Bree, and it sounds like she's looking to fight Bree again. Bree comes on and she like, oh, I whooped that bitch ass last time or whatever, but I'm still watching out for her. I don't really understand their beef, and I'm really starting to question whether or not the BCG girls being mixed in with the baddies is a good idea. It feels like a lot going on. We'll see. We'll see. But as they get to the club, the BGC girls get in there first. They come in. Then we have Bobby Lights. He comes in. So I guess he's there to do some hosting. And then we have all the other girls kind of trickle in. So once everybody is into the club, so Natalie comes into the club and she gets up there and she talks. Basically, I'm going to say this. I really like this announcement that she made. I'm all for it. I'm wishing them the best on this. Basically, what she revealed to the girls is that instead of them traveling throughout the country and going to different clubs and shit, they have now set it up to where they'll have their own venue, right? So all the girls that's on there and they performers or rappers or singers or whatever, they'll have actually venues that they hoping to sell out when people will buy tickets just to come see them exclusively, which is a really good idea. I don't know. I wonder why it took them so long to come up with that. Maybe the club money was good. The appearance fees must have been really good or some shit. I don't know. But this is a good idea. And I like that they taking this transition. One thing I'll say about baddies is that they do progress. They don't really stay stagnant. Because one will wonder how much fighting can a motherfucker watch. Well, that shit does get old. But the structure of the show, the way they do things, they do find ways to kind of innovate themselves a little bit. So we're going to see how this works. But I think this will be a good idea for them to tour around and do like their own shows and stuff. Also, this is the opportunity where Natalie decides to give the girls chains. The girls who don't have chains, she gives them chains. Also, she gives the BGC girls their chains. So the three that got chains from baddies who didn't have them previous to now were Krishan. She got her baddie chain, which is weird. They wasn't giving out chains on that season, so I guess it would make sense why she didn't have one yet. But basically, Natalie give her baddie chain first. She gets emotional and she cry. And then next we get, Gretchen gets her chain. She crunk, okay, Gretchen. Smiley gets her chain. Nobody clapped for her when she went up to the stage. I was like, oh, that's sad. And then lastly, Cold Killer get her chain. Cold Killer is like, I appreciate it, but like, you didn't give me a chain because I earned a chain. You just gave me a chain because all the bitches got a chain. Like, girl, take your chain and shut up. After they get their chains, this is when Natalie passes out all the bad girls' chains, which I just thought those bad girls' chains would be a little bit more substantial. They look real small to me. Probably because of the lettering. I mean, it's not a whole lot you can do. BGC is much smaller than the word baddies. So, I mean, I get it. But them little chains look so pitiful. Anyway, the girls were appreciative of their chains. Tanisha says she thinks she should have had one that was a little bit better because of all the contributions she done made. But she was like, thankful anyway. As Cold Killer was getting her chain, Summer tried to interrupt. Natalie checked her. She's like, don't take her a moment. Sit down. Now, as the bad girls are getting their chains, Summer was kind of sitting over on the side with Tommy, and she was talking shit about Persuasion. Child, she was talking about Persuasion's body and how fake she looked and this and that. Now, I will say that Persuasion, to me, I wonder if they both from Texas. Like, Dolly and Persuasion, they don't look alike, but they, like, the way they talk, like, they sound like the girls from home. I'm a native Texan, you know what I'm saying? And so, I like Persuasion. I think she cute. I think she country in the motherfucker. Like, she just cute to me. I don't know. But, you know, her enhancements are very obvious. And so, Summer put her mouth on her, and so Persuasion was like, bitch, who you talking to? Summer jumps up. She goes over to fight Persuasion. And that's really where the episode ends. So, it looked like Persuasion was getting in there with her to be a little bit older than Summer. Persuasion is basically like, bitch, last time I said what I thought, I got snuck. That was the first time we really seen Krishan go in. Child, Persuasion wasn't having that shit. Summer walked her ass up. Persuasion. And so that's how that episode ends. Episode 4 of Baddies USA. Okay, my thoughts on Baddies USA episode 4. So again, I talked a little bit about it already, the whole Malone sister controversy and that whole thing. I am so uncomfortable that they talk about this shit on the show. I'm really uncomfortable with it. I hope they can resolve this off the screen. I don't think Krishan is gonna go back on her word because I don't think she's lying about it. And she could be. I'm not making no declarations or nothing, but I don't think she's lying. And I think the last thing she want to do is be seen as a liar. And with the size of that family and all of them motherfuckers, and as gorgeous as those girls are, I just know it was probably some touching going on. You know what I'm saying? So that's really sad, and it makes me uncomfortable to see that whole situation with them. Summer, your time is up, baby. Like, everybody's sick of your ass. When your homegirls are sick of you, like, it's time. Either you morph yourself and change, or be, you know, open to some constructive criticism, or just get the fuck out. Like, you know, nobody likes Summer. And I think that that's very sad, because I don't like a mob mentality. I'm really opposed to a mob mentality. I feel some kind of way when it's one person and you got like 2 or 3 other people or 10 other people against the one person. I automatically feel a certain way about it. But I also think Summer ain't doing herself no favors by standing on this ground where she just like, I'm not bending. Like, sometimes we gotta bend, you know what I'm saying? That's part of wisdom. You need to know when to kind of fall back. You gotta know when to buck up, but you gotta know when to fall back. And sometimes you can be your own worst enemy trying to push it to its limit. So Summer, she need to chill out and get the fuck on. Like, we over it. Miss Dolly, I'm so proud of Dolly. I'm starting to fall in love with her the way I do Lex. I just really like both of those girls. Rolly did make a mention to Lex and how classy she is on the Sprinter, and that is so true. She has class and wretchedry all packaged into one, and it is a beautiful thing. I love it. I love it. I love it. And to be fair, I see that shit on Dolly too. So Dolly, she's pulling me in. She's pulling me in. She's pulling me in. And it ain't necessarily just because she agree with everybody else, but you know, I think as women, as anybody really, but especially as women, we go through life, we grow, we change, we gain a little bit of wisdom, and then we start to move a little different. You know what I'm saying? And so I know for me, as being a person that's a little bit older that tends to watch this shit, I don't watch it because it looks fun or something that I want to do. I watch it because I'm so impressed with these little ghetto ass girls that get on this TV and show their ass and make all this money and travel to all these countries, and they get to dress up and be beautiful and, you know, get their hair done and their nails, and they just get to talk their shit. Like, I'm all the way for it. You know what I'm saying? And so I know that's debatable. I know some people that are my age will probably say, oh, that's, you know, immature. I don't give a fuck. I love it. And so when I see the girls, as long as some of them have been on the show and you can actually see them develop in real time, that shit is dope. Dolly, I love it on you, baby girl. Let's get it. I'm so happy to see her elevate. That's all I can say. So that's it. That's all I got for episode 4, Baddies USA. It's your girl. I'm the Benjamin B. Finna go find me something else to watch on TV, y'all. Bye.